In this video, I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite books, The Magician by Phillip Cooper, a study in effective magic. This book has become a total rarity, at least the first edition. There actually is a second edition out, ladies and gentlemen, that can be bought for much cheaper. These books, depending on when you look on Amazon, typically go for $1,000 to sometimes even $2,500 or more. And this one is actually in pretty decent condition. Unfortunately, there's a little tear right here in the back, but still, this is a relatively clean book. I've read this probably 4 or 5 times, and I continue to look back into it for information. This is the gold standard, ladies and gentlemen, on learning how to practice magic properly. I'd say 99.999% of the material out there on the art of magic, which is the art of controlled thinking, the art of making things happen, the art of learning how to communicate with your subconscious mind. 99.999% of the material out there is garbage, and it will only further complicate your journey to learning how to practice magic properly. Magic is simple, ladies and gentlemen. It is the science of the mind. But here in the material world, we've been so just hypnotized, if you will, by modern culture, and we've lost our way, and we've lost our connection to the power of our mind. And magic is a system of tools that we can use to get more of that power back. Unfortunately, though, most of the books on magic that you read are all about making invisible spiritual contracts with different spirits and whatnot to go out and materialize your desires and all this nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. Magic, first and foremost, should be a tool that we can use to get our mind right, to get our life in order, to get all of our material needs, fixed. A lot of people are in a state where they just don't have what they need, and magic can help us get there. So, true magic is the art and science of communicating with the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind and our ability to tap into it and create a relationship with it is the key to the whole law of attraction stuff. You see, all of that stuff, The Secret, the law of attraction, it threw you a little bit of truth with a whole lot of garbage. It made it seem like you could just constantly think about having a car and it would drop from the sky like an anvil in like an old Looney Tunes cartoon. It's not how it works. Magic is the instruction manual on how to get the subconscious mind to get behind your desires to create your reality. So, any book that doesn't talk about the subconscious mind, if it's about magic and it doesn't, talk about the subconscious mind, is most likely written by someone who just wants to make a quick buck. Most of these books on magic use this quick ebook style copy and paste nonsense, this framework or scaffolding to write the books, where it's like, I've read over, I can't even tell you how many books I've read on magic, and they all feel the same. They're all using the same skeleton to write the books. It's this copy and paste ebook style material, making promises that never deliver, even if you follow the books exactly. This is a 10 out of 10 book on magic, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just look at the table of contents. We have the introduction, chapter 1, Magic is the Ultimate Science. Chapter 2, The Magical Temple or Psychic Laboratory. Chapter 3, The Magical Mind. Chapter 4, The Gods Within. Chapter 5, The Secret of the 4 Elements. Chapter 6, Symbolism, the Key to Power. 7, Constructing Rituals. 8, Astrology and Magic. 9, Planetary Magic. 10, Perfecting Your Magic. Magical, miscellaneous bibliography, etc. So, you can find pirated copies of this book online. I do not suggest buying them. Try to materialize one of these. You can go on Etsy, and for some reason they allow you to buy these photocopied books of this. I don't know why people are allowed to do that. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This book, ladies and gentlemen, teaches you a very proper pentagram ritual This book teaches you how most of the material on magic out there is filled full of superstition, and that most of the authors writing about the art and science of magic are mentally ill and perpetuating this obsessive compulsive style approach towards magic. And that's why so many people who get into the occult, they get into magic, they get into the supernatural, they just don't seem balanced. This book clears the cobwebs. It dissolves all the dross. When you read this, it acts as a mirror almost, and it helps you delete all of the prior programming that you've most likely accumulated while you studied magic along the way. I hope that makes sense. So it's a beautifully written book. Very small amount of typos, ladies and gentlemen. There's beautiful diagrams in here. The rituals in this are a very strong foundation that you can use, and once you master them, you can modify them to your liking. I've taken and mastered this pentagram ritual in here. Let's see if I can find it. There's a basic pentagram ritual, and then it gets a little bit more elaborate. And, further into the book, Phillip teaches you a basic pentagram ritual that you can utilize to invoke the power of the elements. Drawing the elements into your personal sphere, ladies and gentlemen, is a very powerful thing. The 4 elements are in everything. They are kind of the world that we live in, the material realm, is a mixture of the 4 elements bound with spirit. Everybody that I know, including myself, we all have certain elemental strengths. We have elemental weaknesses. For instance, somebody might be very watery but lack fiery qualities. They might be very emotional, but they might not be assertive. They might not have courage. They might be very, for instance, earthly and have a lot of material things, or be very rooted in the earth, but they might lack water qualities, emotional qualities. And that would create someone who is very earthly but not connected to the emotional realm. So when you draw the power of the elements into your world, when you invoke them, when you go into your inner temple, and the inner temple exercise that I talk about often is described in this book. When you go into your inner temple, ladies and gentlemen, and you draw the elements into your personal sphere, into your subconscious, you start to, over time, correct all of the elemental imbalances in your life, and you start to experience true stability. Stability comes from being in harmony with the world that we live in. The world that we live in, including our body, is composed of the 4 elements bound to spirit. Magic, first and foremost, is a system of self-correction. And any book that tries to teach you otherwise, any book that just wants to sell you some get-rich-quick ritual nonsense, is most likely just leading you on, and the person wrote it to try to gain material success. They wanted quick money, and that's what's so common with magic. Offering quick money, but, you end up losing your money buying it. It's a con job. So this book is the primer that I suggest that everybody read if they're interested in learning how to practice magic properly. And you can materialize this, ladies and gentlemen, into your life. Let it be an exercise of materialization. These books go for a whole lot of money, but if you look properly, if you look closely, you'll be able to find one. Your success in magic is dependent directly upon what you put out into the world, what you do with your time. We live in an input equals output world, and Phillip talks about this beautifully in this book. If you want something strong enough and long enough, you'll get it. So I have a handful of Phillip's books. I have some books of his that are even rarer than this. Much rarer, actually. But this is considered one of his most rare books. That's just not the case. So we'll look at the back. I'll put it right here. It says this is or I'll read it right. You can pause it if you want to read it, but I'll read it to you. This is a practical, hands-on book about the banishing ritual of the pentagram. It was written for people who want to learn how magic works, for people who have had problems learning to use magical rituals, and for those who want to change their lives for the better. Phillip Cooper lifts the veil of superstition and cuts through the confusion surrounding ritual practice so you can achieve results quickly and easily. He explains how to set up a temple, creating the inner temple, the clothes to wear, the colors to use, working with scents and music, timing rituals, and how to work with the planetary energy based on your own personal astrology. Cooper provides a wealth of practical information so you can remove the blocks that impede your path, use creative intention, and protect yourself from negative energy or psychic attack. Excuse me. This is magic that works. So this book is kind of like a purging process, because Phillip walks you through, how your beliefs have been, you've lived in a world that inspired you by living in it to create beliefs that are suboptimal to your growth. The world that we live in does not want us to thrive, ladies and gentlemen. And this is done at the expense of, as you develop in this world and you go through the education system and all the nonsense, as you absorb stuff like a dry sponge, as you develop when you're younger, you turn all of the information in units of data that you take in from the world and the people around you, and you turn them into beliefs. And beliefs are the foundation of the subconscious mind. Anything that you believe with every fiber of your being instructs the subconscious mind. Magic is the art and science of reprogramming the subconscious mind so that you can instruct your mind to create something that you desire, or to manifest whatever it is the fuck you want to desire. Excuse my language. So I don't want to make this too long. I wanted to keep this under 11 minutes. Phillip Cooper, 1,000 out of 10. Get this book immediately. This is the greatest practical guide to magic that in my opinion, was ever written. There's some other great books out there, ladies and gentlemen, but if you want a no-nonsense approach to something that has become hyper-complicated in a mentally ill world, this is the book that you want. This will clear the cobwebs. This will set you in the right direction. Peace be with you all.